Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtapraishu Patreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Tirvati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 6, the demigods and demons declare the truth. Text 25 onwards. So the demigods, they pleased Lord Vishnu. He appeared and he is giving them the directions how to churn the ocean and get nectar. So Lord Vishnu is saying, Na bhetavyam kalakutat vishanjalati samvat lobha karyunavo jatu doshamastu vastushu. A poison known as kalakut will be generated from the ocean of milk, but you should not fear it. And when various products are churned from the ocean, you should not be greedy for them or anxious to obtain them, nor should you be angry. It appears that by churning process, many things would be generated from the ocean of milk, including poison, valuable gems, nectar, and many beautiful women. The demigods were advised, however, not to be greedy for the gems of beautiful women, but to wait patiently for the nectar. The real purpose was to get the nectar. So this churning of the ocean, churning of the milk ocean, it's a very, very instructive story or the pastime of the Lord. So even if we just go by this verse, churning of the ocean, first Kalkut poison will be generated, and then the gems and the many beautiful women, and then will come the nectar. So similarly, when we churn the ocean of our heart, or churn our heart, which is basically an ocean of desires, so many desires. But now, as devotees, or trying to be devotees, we are trying to churn that ocean, and we are trying to get that nectar. But what happens? First, we'll get the poison. Poison could be in any way. Could be enviousness, jealousy, or more desires. And then Krishna, of course, gems of beautiful women are not going to come out from our heart for men, beautiful women, or the opposite sex, basically. But Krishna, or Krishna's Maya, can entice us, or does entice us, with money, women, power, this, that. But a sincere devotee will not get attracted by it. He'll still keep on churning, waiting for the nectar. Nectar for what kind of nectar? Nectar of attraction towards Krishna, Krishna's name, Krishna Katha, Krishna Seva, Vaishnava association. That is a real nectar. But in the process of churning, we do get attracted by different things because we are still on the bodily level. But a real or sincere devotee does not stop there. He does not want to get attracted. No more attracted. He just wants to go for the nectar. So that should be our aim. And this is what Lord Vishnu is telling the demigods. Should not get greedy for them. Don't get fearful of the Kalkut poison. Because Krishna, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu will make sure it's all taken care of. Even everything that comes in our way, that is supposedly against devotion service, if we don't get attracted or afraid of it, Krishna will take care of it. Lord Vishnu will take care of it. It's not a big deal for the Lord. But they just want to see our sincerity, test our sincerity. Shri Shukuvacha, iti devan samadishya bhagwan purushottama tesham antardate rajan swachhanda gatirishvara. Shukdev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, after advising the demigods in this way, the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities, disappeared from their presence. At tasmai bhagavate namaskritya pitamaha bhavascha jagmatu swam swam dhamo peyur balim suraha. Then Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, after offering their respectful obeisances to the Lord, returned to their abodes. All the demigods then approached Maharaj Bali. Drishtvarin api sanyatancha takshobhan swanayakam nyashedat tatirata shlokya sandhi vigrah kalavit. Maharaj Bali, a most celebrated king of the demons, knew very well when to make peace and when to fight. Thus, although his commanders and captains were agitated and were about to kill the demigods, Maharaj Bali, seeing that the demigods were coming to him without a militant attitude, forbade his commanders to kill them. So Maharaj Bali is a grandson of Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj, so he knew how to fight according to the rules of the scriptures. So when he saw demigods were coming for a truce, so he has his commanders not to kill them and let them come. Vedic etiquette enjoins grihe shatrum api praptum vishwastam akuto bhayam. When enemies come to their opponent's place, they should be received in such a way that they will forget that there is animosity between the two parties. Bali Maharaj was well conversant with the arts of peacemaking and fighting. Thus he received the demigods very well, although his commanders and captains were agitated. This kind of treatment was prevalent even during the fight between the Pandavas and the Kurus. During the day, the Pandavas and Kurus would fight with the utmost strength, and when the day was over, they would go to each other's camps as friends and be received as such. During such friendly meetings, one enemy would offer anything the other enemy wanted. That was the system. But obviously, that was a system Pandavas' time 5,000 years ago. And both the parties would follow the rules of fighting. But now if one party is hell-bent on breaking the rule, every kind of rule, and they fight like animals, then where are the rules? But anyway, Bali Maharaj, he was well conversant with the rules of fighting and the rules of art of peacemaking. So he just received the demigods properly. Devero chini masinam guptam chasur yudh shriya paramaya jushtam jita shesham upagaman. The demigods approached Bali Maharaj, the son of Virocha, and sat down near him. Bali Maharaj was protected by the commanders of the demons and was most opulent, having conquered all the universes. So because all the demigods were afraid of Bali Maharaj had kicked them out. So the demigod just sat down near to him. Mahendra Shilakshanaya Vacha Santavitva Mahamati Abhyabhashat Tatta Sarvam Shikshitam Purushottama. After pleasing Bali Maharaj with mild words, Lord Indra, the king of the demigods, who was most intelligent, very politely submitted all the proposals he had learned from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Tatvarochatu Datyasya Tatranyaya Suratva Shambaro Arishta Nemischa Yecha Tripurvasinaha. The proposals submitted by King Indra were immediately accepted by Bali Maharaj and his assistants, headed by Shambar and Arishtanemi, and by all other residents of Tripura. It appears from this verse that politics, diplomacy, the propensity to cheat, and everything that we find in this world in individual and social negotiations between two parties are also present in the upper planetary systems, because they are still material bodies, material consciousness, material planets. The demigods went to Bali Maharaj with the proposal to manufacture or bring it forth. And the Daityas, the demons, immediately accepted it, thinking that since the demigods were already weak when the nectar was produced, the demons would take it from them and use it for their own purposes. The demigods, of course, had similar intentions. The only difference is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, was on the side of the demigods, because the demigods were his devotees. Whereas the demons did not care about Lord Vishnu. All over the universe, there are two parties, the Vishnu party or God conscious party and the godless party. The godless party is never happy or victorious, but the God conscious party is always happy and victorious. So temporarily there might be some situations where it looks like the devotees are losing, but that is temporary, and that is it's just a test presented by the Lord. So the demons accepted it. Obviously, they had also heard of that snake and mouse logic, and they thought, okay, we'll get the nectar, let the demigods work, and get the nectar, and we'll kill them and take the nectar away. They're already weak. So Devasura Kritva Samvidam Kritso Hrida Udyamam Paramam Chakrur Amritarthe Parantapa. O Maharaj Parikshit, chastiser of enemies, the demigods and the demons thereafter made an armistice between them. Then with great enterprise they arranged to produce nectar as proposed by Lord Indra. Because the demons on their own, they were also not able to produce that nectar. So they also needed help of demigods. The word Samvidam is significant in this verse. The demigods and demons both agreed to stop fighting, at least for the time being, and endeavored to produce nectar. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur notes in this connection, the word Samvit is variously used to mean in fighting, in promising, for satisfying, in addressing, by practical action, indication, and knowledge. So both demons and demigods, now they are ready to collaborate or cooperate to produce nectar. Tataste mandar girimo jatsut patyap durmadaha nadant udadhim ninyuh shaktaha parik bhavaha. Thereafter, with great strength, the demons and demigods, who were all very powerful and had long, stout arms, uprooted Mandar mountain, crying very loudly. They brought it towards the ocean of milk. So crying very loudly means they were screaming that they were and it is a very heavy mountain, Mandar mountain. It's not just a little bitty mountain. And they were screaming, and the weight was so much, they were getting crushed, and somehow they brought it towards the ocean of milk. But Dur Bharud Vahashrantaha Shakra Paro Chanadaya Aparayantastam Vodum Vivasha Vijaho Pati. Because of conveying the great mountain for a long distance, King Indra, Maharaj Bali, and the other demigods and demons became fatigued. Being unable to carry the mountain, they left it on the way. It was so heavy, basically they dropped it. And they just couldn't carry it further. Nipatansa giristatra bahunam mardanavan churnyamasu mahata bharena kanaka chalaha. The mountain known as Mandar, which was extremely heavy, being made of gold. So gold is heavier than stones, and it was very tall, fell and smashed many demigods and demons. By constitution, gold is heavier than stone, since Mandar mountain was made of gold and was therefore heavier than a stone. The demigods and demons could not properly carry it to the ocean of milk. So you can only imagine demigods and demons, they both are trying to carry this mountain, but cannot carry it. So heavy. Tanstata bhagna manaso bhagna bahuraka kandhara vigyaya bhagwan statra babhu garuda dhvaja. The demigods and demons were frustrated and disheartened, and their arms, thighs, and shoulders were broken. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who knows everything, appeared there on the back of his carrier, Garuda. So they did not pray, but the Lord knew everything, and he wanted them to engage in this churning of the ocean. So he appeared there with on Garuda. Giri Pata Vinishtupistan Anvilokya Mardanavan Iksha Jivaya Masa Nirjaran Nirvarnanyatha. Observing that most of the demons and the demigods had been crushed by the falling of the mountain, the Lord glanced over them and brought them back to life. Thus they became free from grief, and they even had no bruises on their bodies. So what's so difficult for the Lord to do? The demons, the demigods, they think they are most powerful and they can do anything and everything in the world. But look at this. The Lord came and they were crying and they were suffering. Their shoulders and the backs and the arms and thighs were broken. And Lord just glanced over them and they just became alive. And all the bruises were gone. See, Lord just does these wonderful pastimes. Still people don't believe in him. That's the worst part. Girim charopya garude haste neken lileya aruya prayavabdhim surasur ganera vrita. The Lord very easily, see, all the demons, demigods, they were suffering. Lord very easily lifted the mountain with one hand and placed it on the back of Garuda. Even Garudaji could also carry. Then he too got on the back of Garuda and went to the ocean of milk, surrounded by the demigods and the demons. So what was so difficult for the Lord to do? Nothing. So Garudaji also has his strength because of the mercy of the Lord. Here is a proof of the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is above everyone. There are two classes of living entities, the demons and the demigods, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is above them both. The demons believe in the chance theory of creation, whereas the demigods believe in creation by the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The omnipotence of the Supreme Lord is proved here, for simply with one hand he lifted Mandar mountain. The demons and demigods, so he picked up demons and demigods also and placed them on the back of Garuda and brought them to the ocean of milk. Now the demigods or the devotees would immediately accept this incident, knowing that the Lord can lift anything, however heavy it might be. But although demons were also carried along with the demigods, demons, upon hearing of this incident, would say that it is mythological. It is not true. It is some mythological story. How is it possible? How it can happen? But if God is all powerful, then why would it be difficult for him to lift a mountain? Since he is floating innumerable planets with many hundreds and thousands of wonder mountains, why can't he lift one of them with his hand? The demons, atheists, they just don't believe in it. This is not mythology, but the difference between the believers and the faithless is that the devotees accept the incidents mentioned in the Vedic literature to be true, whereas the demons simply argue and label all these historical incidents mythology. Demons would prefer to explain that everything happening in the cosmic manifestation takes place by chance. But demigods or devotees never consider anything to be chance. Rather, they know that everything is an arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the difference between the demigods and the demons. So in our schools also, because we blindly follow British system, so-called Lord Macaulay. So they called all our Vedic texts as mythology. And very proudly, school teachers teach that, and the students learn that without even paying attention to what in the world this word means, mythology. They very proudly say, oh, in Hindu mythology, this is what is said. What do you mean by mythology? Mythology means myth, starts from the word myth. Myth means something made up, fiction, kalpanik, imaginary. But is this churning of ocean imaginary activity, imaginary pastime? Just because we cannot do it doesn't mean it is imaginary. Is Krishna's appearance imaginary? Today's Ganesh Chaturthi here. Is that imaginary? How can somebody have an elephant head? Well, there is a particular pastime that happened in the history. It's not imaginary. Many years ago, if you remember, Ganeshji, all over the world, one day, it happened only in one day, he drank milk. And there were people all over the world lining up in the temples, feeding milk to Ganeshji. It didn't happen only in India or only in wherever, maybe Maharashtra, because that's where Ganeshji is mostly worshipped, or just one place or one temple. No, it happened all over the world. And then those who don't have faith, of course, that time I was not connected with ISKCON, but this discussion was happening, and I said, oh, what's so difficult? Why can't you drink? But those who don't have faith, they were trying to argue, no, there's some pores in this rock. Well, brass deities were also drinking milk. How do you explain that? And why not before? Why not after? Why only on that day and for certain time only? And how come all over the world? So no scientist could explain this. And all these so-called scholars, and they just gave their logics, their reasons. They said, I don't believe in it. Whether you believe it or not, it is happening. So they just brush it aside. Say, oh, this is mythology. We don't believe in it. We are seculars. So we are intelligent. You all are blind followers. Andhavakta. No, because their brains are just closed. That's all. They just don't want to see anything wonderful or accept anything wonderful. So this word mythology, and especially when it is taught in our school text, they should be out of our books. Never ever use this word mythology. I mean, do we ever question, like in Bible it is mentioned, or in Christian literature it is mentioned, that the Moses is one of their acharyas. You can say Moses parted the Red Sea when the Roman armies were following him and the followers. We never questioned it. Why can't Moses do it? Yes, he can do it. What's the big deal? But even to that, so many people say, oh, it's all mythology. Well, those who don't have faith cannot do anything with it. Text 39. Avaropya Girimaskandhat Suparna Patakam Varaha Yayo Jalanta Utsrigya Harina Savisarjita. Thereafter, Garuda, the chief of birds, unloaded Mandar mountain from his shoulder and brought it near the water. Then he was asked by the Lord to leave that place, and he left. Now the question, why was he asked to leave? He just did wonderful service. Well, because Lord was going to ask Vasuki to come and become the rope for the journey. And Vasuki is a snake. Garuda likes to eat snakes. So they don't go well together. So when Vasuki was called, so before that, Lord asked Garudaji, okay, you leave right now. Your service is done. We'll call you later. Purport. Garuda was asked by the Lord to leave that place because the snake, Vasuki, who was to be used as a rope for churning, could not go there in the presence of Garuda. Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, is not a vegetarian. He eats big snakes. And we can imagine the size of Garuda, who was carrying Mandar mountain on his back. So how big Garuda must be. So he likes to eat big snakes. Vasuki, being a great snake, would be natural food for Garuda, the chief of birds. Lord Vishnu therefore asked Garuda to leave so that Vasuki could be brought to churn the ocean with Mandar mountain, which was to be used as a churning rod. These are the wonderful arrangements of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing takes place by accident. Carrying Mandar mountain on the back of a bird and putting it in its right position might be difficult for anyone, whether demigod or demon. But for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is possible, as shown by this pastime. The Lord had no difficulty lifting the mountain with one hand, and Garuda, his carrier, carried all the demons and demigods together by the grace of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is known as Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic power, because of his omnipotence. If he likes, he can make anything lighter than cotton or heavier than the universe. Those who do not believe in the activities of the Lord cannot explain how things happen. Using words like accident, they take shelter of ideas that are unbelievable. Nothing is accidental. Everything is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Lord himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Whatever actions and reactions occur within the cosmic manifestation all take place under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, because the demons do not understand the potency of the Lord, when wonderful things are done, the demons think that they are accidental. And as Prabhupada mentioned, that they like to say, oh, everything happened by accident, or the whole universe came into existence by a big bang. But they cannot explain what big bang, why, who put that thing there, who made the explosion. They just can't explain all this, but they just use some word jugglery to try to explain themselves, and they think they know everything. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 7th chapter. The demigods and demons declare a truce. So we still have time, we can go to the 7th chapter. Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. Text 1. Shri Shukavacha Te Nagarajam Amantraya Falbhagen Vasukim Pariviya Girau Tasmin Netram Abdhim Mudanvitaha Are Bhire Surayatta Amritarte Kurudvaha. Shukdev Goswami said, O best of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods and demons summoned Vasuki, king of the serpents, requesting him to come and promising to give him a share of the nectar. So, no such thing as free lunch. So, he was also going to get nectar for the service. They coiled Vasuki around Mandar mountain as a churning rope, and with great pleasure they endeavored to produce nectar by churning the ocean of milk. Harihi Purustat Jagrihe Purvam Devas Tatuva Bhavan. The personality of Godhead Ajita grasped the front portion of the snake, and then the demigods followed. Tannaichan Datyapatyo Mahapurush Cheshtitam Nagrinimo Vayam Pucham Pucha Mahengram Mangalam Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna Prakyata Karma. The leaders of the demons thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus, the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge and were famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. So this is always the story, always a point of discontent between demigods and demons, or the devotees and demons. They always have some, demons always have some kind of enviousness or jealousy against the demigods. So they think they want the best. Let's see what Prabhupada says. The demons thought that the front of the snake was auspicious, and catching hold of that portion would be more chivalrous. Moreover, Daityas must always do the opposite of the demigods. That is their nature. We have actually seen this in relation to our Krishna consciousness movement. We are advocating cow protection and encouraging people to drink more milk and eat palatable preparations made of milk. But the demons, just to protest such proposals, are claiming that they are advanced in scientific knowledge, as described here by the words Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna. They say that according to their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous and that the beef obtained by killing cows is very nutritious. This difference of opinion will always continue. Indeed, it has existed since days of yore. Millions of years ago, there was the same competition. The demons, as a result of this so-called Vedic study, preferred to hold the side of the snake near the mouth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead thought it wise to catch hold of the dangerous part of the snake and allow the demons to hold the tail, which was not dangerous. But because of a competitive desire, the demons thought it wise to hold the snake near the mouth. If the demigods were going to drink poison, the demons would resolve, why should we not share the poison and die gloriously by drinking it? So this is like, it's also, there is a saying that one should not throw pearls at the pig, because pig won't understand, pig won't appreciate the value of the pearls. They just go for the stool, thinking, oh, this is the best thing. And this is what happens with the people who are not devotees. They think they know the best, they do the best thing, they are, and they are the best. But the best people, according to scriptures, best people serve the Lord. Best activity is to serve the Lord. But That's not what demons would think. And they would always, always, always oppose whatever devotees are doing. In regards to the words, Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna, another question may be raised. If one is actually educated in Vedic knowledge, is famous for performing prescribed activities, and has been born in a great aristocratic family, why should he be called a demon? The answer is that one may be highly educated and may have been born in an aristocratic family, but if he is godless, or he is not a devotee, if he does not listen to the instructions of God, then he is a demon. So, demon doesn't mean people with two horns coming out of their heads. That is Rakshas. Demon means Asura. Maybe highly educated, plenty of PhD degrees, and very well placed in the society or government. But if he is godless, if he doesn't believe in God, here it doesn't say, Prabhupada doesn't say, if he doesn't believe in Krishna the way we worship Krishna, then if he doesn't do that, then he is a demon. No. There is no such fanaticism. But one just has to be a devotee. One has to listen to God, and then he's not a demon. Otherwise, he's a demon. Simple as that. There are many examples in history of men like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and Kansa, who were well educated, who were born in aristocratic families, and who were very powerful and chivalrous in fighting, but who, because of deriding the supreme personality of Godhead, were called Rakshasas or demons. Of course, Prabhupada called them Rakshas, but they were demons. One may be very well educated, but if he has no sense of Krishna consciousness, no obedience to the Supreme Lord, he is a demon. That is described by the Lord himself. Namam dushkritino mura. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of the demons, do not surrender unto me. Asuram Bhavam refers to not accepting the existence of God or the transcendental instructions of the personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita clearly consists of transcendental instructions imparted directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Asuras, instead of accepting these instructions directly, make commentaries according to their own whimsical ways and mislead everyone, without profit even for themselves. One should therefore be very careful of demoniac, godless persons. According to the words of Lord Krishna, even if a godless demon is very well educated, he must be considered a muda, means fool or a rascal, an aradham, is the lowest of the mankind, and maya pratyagyan, means whose knowledge is stolen by maya. Heavy statements by Krishna. And when Prabhupada says, they become even heavier. So, unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, we have both these tendencies within ourselves, demoniac and devotional. Now it's up to us which tendency we feed more, which tendency we want it to grow stronger. It's up to us. So by reading Prabhupada's books, associating, performing the Vedi sadhana bhakti, we are feeding, we are nourishing, nurturing the divine or devotional tendencies. So means the demoniac tendencies will go down. But otherwise, we have both the tendencies. Sometimes we become critical or maybe confused or maybe not have faith in the words of Prabhupada or in the words of the scriptures. But that means that demonic tendencies are on the rise. We just have to nurture the divine tendencies. Then we'll be okay. Iti tushnim sthitan datyan vilokya purushottam smaimano visrijagram pucham jagraha samara. Thus the demons remained silent, opposing the desire of the demigods. Seeing the demons and understanding the motive, the personality of God had smiled. Without discussion, he immediately accepted the proposal by grasping the tail of the snake, and the demigods followed him. So that's why demigods are very dear to the Lord. They just follow him. That's it. They didn't ask any questions. They didn't object. No. How come demons are getting the best part? They said the Lord is doing that, and we'll also do that. Hare Krishna, somebody's mic is on. Please mute yourself. Text 5. Kristhana vibhagasta evam kashyapanandana mamantu paramam yatta amritartham payonidhim. After the suggesting how the snake was to be held, the sons of Kashyap. Now Kashyap Muni is the father of both demons and demigods, from his wife, Diti and Aditi, began their activities, desiring to get nectar by churning the ocean of milk. Mathyamane arnave so adrir nadharo hi apo ashit dhriyamano abhi balebhir gauravat Pandu Nandana. O son of the Pandu dynasty, when Manda mountain was thus being used as a churning rod in the ocean of milk, it had no support at the bottom, and therefore, although held by the strong hands of the demons and demigods, it sank into the water. So, another problem. There was nothing to hold it up. Te sunar vinam manasaha parimlan mukhashriyaha asanasva paurushe nashte daven nati baliyasa. Because the mountain had been sunk by the strength of providence, the demigods and demons were disappointed, and their faces seemed to shrivel, because they said, we worked so hard to carry this mountain, then to churn this ocean with the mountain as a churning rod, and then the mountain has sank to the ocean. Vilokya Vignesh Vidhim Tadeshwaro Duranta Viryo Avithapi Sandhi Kritva Vapuhu Kachapam Adbhutam Mahat Pravishya Toyam Girim Ujjahara. Seeing the situation that had been created by the will of the Supreme, the unlimitedly powerful Lord, whose determination is infallible, took the wonderful shape of a tortoise, entered the water, and lifted the great Mandar mountain. So, Kurma Dev Bhagwan ki jai. Here is evidence that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme controller of everything. As we have previously described, there are two classes of men, the demons and the demigods, but neither of them are supremely powerful. Everyone has experienced that hindrances are imposed upon us by the supreme power. The demons regard these hindrances as mere accidents or chance, but the devotees accept them to be the acts of the supreme ruler. When faced with hindrances, therefore, devotees pray to the Lord. Devotees endure hindrances, accepting them to be caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and regarding them as benedictions. The demons, however, being unable to understand the Supreme Controller, regard such hindrances as accident. Here, of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present personally. It was by His will that there were hindrances, and by His will those hindrances were removed. The Lord appeared as tortoise to support the great mountain. Kshitir ihe vipulatare tavadishtati prishte. The Lord held the great mountain on His back. Keshavadhrita kurma sharira jai jagadish hare. Dangers can be created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they can also be removed by Him. This is known to devotees, but demons cannot understand it. So dangers, hindrances, obstacles, they're created by the Lord to test a person. So if he's a devotee, he will just say, oh, the Lord did it, and my wonderful Lord can remove anything, any obstacle. What's a big deal for him? But the demons, they think, oh, it happened by chance, and now we have to figure out what's the obstacle, how to remove this obstacle. And in the end, they just, maybe they'll get successful. But if they get successful, they become proud. And that's where the problem is. And if they, and even if they become successful, that can only happen by the mercy of the Lord. So without his mercy, even demons cannot become successful. Krishna says, from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. But demons, they just don't acknowledge that. They're not grateful to the Lord. But the devotees are always grateful. So the Lord appeared as a big tortoise. So how big that Kurma avatar must be, carrying the whole Mandar mountain on his back. Huge, huge tortoise. Tam uthitam vikshya kulachalam punaha samudyatan nirmatitum surasuraha adhar prishtena salaksha yojana prastarina dvip iva paro mahana. When the demigods and demons saw that Mandar mountain had been lifted, they were enlivened and encouraged to begin churning again. The mountain rested on the back of the great tortoise, which extended for 800,000 miles, like a large island. So that back, and I'm pretty sure it's not the whole back of Kurma Avatar, part of that back, extends for 800,000 miles. 100,000, 1 lakh yojans. I was checking out the diameter of Earth. Diameter of Earth is around 8,000 miles. And of course, this is just part of the bag of tortoise or Kurma Avatar. 800,000 miles. Earth, the whole Earth diameter is 8,000 miles. So this is how wonderful the Lord is. And if he wants to become smaller than the smallest, he enters into each and every atom. And here, his bag, just part of his bag, it's a large island, 100,000 yojans. Sura Surendra Bhuj Veer Vepitam Paribhramantam Girimanga Prishtataha Vibhritada Vartanam Adi Kachapo Mene Anga Kanduyanam Aprameya. O king, when the demigods and demons by the strength of their arms rotated on the mountain on the back of this extraordinary tortoise, the tortoise accepted. Now, what did he come there for? He didn't come there just to help the demons and the demigods. He was there to perform his pastime, for his pleasure. He does everything for his pleasure. The tortoise accepted the rolling of the mountain as a means of scratching his body, and thus he felt a pleasing sensation. So probably he had an itch, and then this mountain movement, it just released his itch. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always the unlimited. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his body as a tortoise held on this back, the largest of mountains, Mandar Parvat, he did not feel any inconvenience. On the contrary, he apparently felt some itching, and thus the rotation of the mountain was certainly very pleasing. So next time we have this itching sensation on our back, we always do. So just remember the Kurma Avatar also had the same. And then we are scratching our back with whatever we grab. Of course, not the Mandar mountain. So we can remember Kurma Avatar. Because obviously, if it is not in the Lord, it cannot happen here with us or anybody. The origin of everything is Him. So we should just, the next time we are scratching our back, we just remember Kurma Avatar, how he must be feeling. And here they said he was getting the pleasure. He felt a pleasing sensation that the Mandar mountain, they're working hard, there's demons and demigods. And it's scratching my back because itching was there. So I guess I know it's a wonderful pastime and it goes for many chapters. So we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments, and we'll take it up tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Not a question, Prabhuji, but we always talk about that people say that these are mythological. Now, anybody who is studying the things and in the present context can never imagine that Kurma Avatar then could extend to 800,000 miles on the tortoise, or Putana when she died and she fell on a 12-mile stretch of land, or Chitraketu married and 1 crore wives. These are the things in which people make them believe that these are all mythological stories. Well, we study it and through the scriptures and Bhagavatam by Vedvyas, that's why you understand. But those people don't understand. When you talk to them on these lines, and they say that how it is possible? You are not able to handle one wife. How can you handle a 1 crore wife? So, I feel these kind of statements make it amply clear to them that these are all mythological stories.
See, if a villager in a remote village of these days, if we go and tell them that America has a computer, so many computers are there, and they do wonderful calculations just at the hit of the stroke, or there's so many airplanes they have, they go at the speed of whatever the speed they generate, and the villagers will say, nah, it's not possible. It cannot happen because they cannot do it. Doesn't mean nobody can do it or nobody has done it. So they will say, oh, it's all mythology, it's all kalpnik, it's all imagination. You guys don't know what you're talking. But America has done plenty. So even now this is possible. So what to speak of earlier days? There are so many things happen and still happening. We don't know. So many things are happening in the whole universe. We don't know anything.
Yeah, that's true.
What's that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, up there in heavenly planets, down there, hellish planets, so many things are happening. They're not vacant. We don't know. Our only source of knowledge is these scriptures. So
the other day on one of the classes, devotee asked a question, and we're talking about the Mahabharata war. He said, how can the Mahabharata war take place in a place like Kurukshetra? I have gone there to such a small place. You've gone there now. We're talking about 5,000 years ago. So that was a very vast land. There was nothing there. So these are the kind of imaginations that the current generation have.
See, in Bhagavatam, later on when we come to 10th canto, the description of Dwarka.
Yeah.
Now imagine, Krishna had 16,108 queens. And they were all in separate palaces. And palace, not the 2-bedroom flat. BHK. It was a palace.
Palace.
And just to give some figures, and Krishna from every queen had 10 sons and a daughter. Every queen. So there were so many teachers. It is mentioned the teachers ran in billions of people, billions of teachers, just to teach those kids. Maharaj Ugrasen's personal associates, personal, like a king has personal associates, ran into trillion, not billion, trillion. It mentioned in Bhagavatam. And now for all these people, they must have their families, there must be houses, there must be streets, there must be markets, gardens, everything is there. And they had the horse chariots. They were not walking on the road. They must be having the chariots. And it's not mentioned that there were any chariot accidents. Nothing. And Dwarka, we went there, right? How big is Dwarka? It's not that big. So, see, Krishna, if he wants, he can fit the whole population of the whole universe on the top of the tip of his thumb. What's so difficult? If Krishna wants to do anything, what's so difficult?
We don't believe it. I think the modern generation thinks in that terms. How it is possible? So you talk to somebody, then that the soul is the size of one by 10,000 of a tip of an hair. Now, he says, imagine it can't be seen by anything. Not even the greatest of telescopes can see it. But then the fact remains that yes, it is that. It is mentioned. It's like that.
See, I always ask these IT people, they're mostly IT people, students. I say your whole IT industry is based on electrons, right? Because it's electronics, based on electrons, movement of electrons. Have you seen electrons?
Yeah.
Nobody has seen electrons.
Nobody.
So why do you believe? Why do you believe?
Yeah.
You all are making money because of whatever software or hardware, whatever you do. Where are electrons? Have you seen that? So those who have faith, they'll believe, or those who have developed some faith or are in the process of developing. Those who don't, they will not believe. But so this is where preaching comes in.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if nothing else works, no preaching, nothing else, no argument, prashadam always works. So feed them prashadam.
There was a beautiful story about him, Prabhupada, at one of the airports when he was asked, I don't know, I think you referred it, that Swamiji, have you seen God? He said, yes. So then he said, can you show it to us? So he just asked this gentleman, and I think he was a professor. He said, I understand that you are an intelligent person, and intelligence comes from the brains. Yes. He said, have you seen brains? Can you show me your brains? Said, how is it possible? Can I show you my brains? It is not possible for you to show me your brains and which exist, which you say is existent. Why should I show you the God which exists? I have seen it, but why should I show you? But these kind of an arguments and only so exalted devotees like Prabhupada can only have. But then yes, we need to make an attempt. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's all it is. So that's where we have to preach.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no need of preaching. If everybody was a devotee, then there was no need to preach.
The devotee population is very small. The rest are all.
This is our task, mission. So that's all we have to do.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhuji, just one, I'll take only a minute or so. Just a rationale here. Nobody talks about, like Gabriel whispered in the ear of Prophet Muhammad, and everybody accepts that. We don't know whether it was done or not. But then Gabriel went inside the cave and she whispered something that you worship Allah and He is everyone, He is the only God and everything. And the entire, you see how many countries are there? 57 or so, maybe 57 plus, who talks about it, who religiously and at the core of their heart they believe in it. But it's such what we call it. It's a bad thing we have that we question on the Hinduism with so many questions whether this number of what like we were just talking about, the number of this big size Kurma avatar is there, or how many wives were there, and so on. I believe it's just because people are scared about talking of one religion. That's very practical and very straightforward. Nobody wants to ask questions. I saw one movie, The Messenger. On that Prophet Muhammad, the people, it was just a shadow. The entire movie is just a shadow. What a respect they have. Even the director was a Muslim, and what a respect they have for their prophet. Not even shown that somebody as a human being, as an actor who is doing that character role, but just as a shadow shown. The kind of respect and everything, Nirakar Roop, everything they worship, they don't even have seen Allah, but they just they die for it. As you've seen, Sharia law, they want to put it in Taliban is doing that in Afghanistan or Iraq and whatever we have seen in the past. I don't know what energy or what force give them this strength, and the entire world also accept it. Yeah, whatever they are doing is correct. Nobody questions them. Everybody is scared of asking questions. All Bollywood movies, if you see, there's so many nudity is there, so many vulgarity is there about Hinduism, not that particular religion. Don't know why is it so. Sometimes you feel so bad about it. A Sardar asked me in Delhi that Sri Ramchandji doesn't exist. I mean, he asked me that straight away question. If I ask a question to that particular person, I become a secular. I mean, I say, okay, this is a secular country. Why are you asking me that? But somebody is supposed to ask me my Hinduism. They can question Sri Ram doesn't exist. Or Mr. Manmohan Singh said that Adams Bridge was there. It was not an actual bridge made. Complete hypocrisy, nothing else, I would say probably.
Yeah, so many things are going on, but that is why we have to become stronger in our knowledge. We have to learn the scriptures and preach. See, other faiths, the biggest problem is nobody is preaching. Even in Hinduism, yes, in South India, there are great preachers following Shri Sampradaya. But in North, there was no preaching, this kind of institutionalized preaching like Prabhupada established. And now people, even other religion or other faiths, either they appreciate ISKCON or they're scared of ISKCON. Or talking to ISKCON devotee, they know these guys know their stuff. You cannot fool them.
Exactly.
But the other faiths, there is no preaching going on. So either they are following because their parents told them or out of fear. But there are many Muslims also, I know, they themselves ask questions. They have doubts, but they cannot ask. There is nobody to clarify the doubts.
Yeah.
Which is not the right way, because in Vedic scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is all questions and answers. Bhagavatam is all questions and answers. So means one should ask questions, clarify his doubts, and then follow with conviction. Not just we were told to do so. That doesn't last for too long. It doesn't last for too long.
Okay, Prabhuji, one more thing. I somewhere in Delhi ISKCON, one Prabhuji was just describing something, some behavior or some characteristics of Lord Krishna and all, and he said that this particular the preaching which is happening from ISKCON or entire Srimad Bhagavatam and all these things, this will exist for another 5,000 years. So far we have completed 5,000, another 5,000, and then it all vanish. Everything, there will be no dharma at all. Is it correct to some extent?
Not another 5,000. Mahaprabhu gave benediction 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, but from the time he appeared. So 500 years are gone. So 9,500 years are left. And yes, after that Kali Yuga will really take its effect. So Ganga, Yamuna, Govardhan, all the holy places, they will unmanifest. Scriptures also. So yes, that will happen.
I believe there will be another world war also on religion. The way it is going.
I don't know. World War, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, because one community says, "We are good. We are the only one. We are the original." Other one is nobody, and this is of no use. Do not worship idols. So obviously there will be a clash. There will be a big clash, I would say. And doomsday will come in.
Again, when the Lord can help devotees even in the fight against the demons, and here this is the churning of ocean, nothing can happen without Lord's mercy or his sanctioning. So whatever happens, it will happen. What can you do?
Thank you, Prabhu. I just express my feeling. I think it is with everybody.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So thank you. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Jai Shri
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai